Don't you hate that when people don't take things seriously?
Yeah.
I played youth league basketball, and I showed up there with my sneakers on, my socks, with my jersey. Like I was ready to go. When they would do free throw shots, I was like, all right, I'm gonna stand on the block. And I knew the exact spot to stay. And then they would have to position everybody else and nobody and I'm like,
Like they didn't know what they
oh,
were doing at
I
all.
was like, I came here like this is March Madness. I'm like
Yeah.
8. And this is March Madness to me, and you don't even know. And there's like some guy on our team who like he's just like standing off to the side, just snot running down his nose, reading a book, and I'm trying
Yeah.
to like I'm like, no, dude, this is March Madness and I'm playing for Kentucky and you're like over here in your murder mystery
Yeah.
book.
Shouldn't even be out on the floor at
Yeah,
all.
I'm like, this is for real players.
I've got a basketball game up that I'm going to watch later on today.
Ooh, what are you watching today?
I'm watching the 1994 Sonics versus Nuggets Game 5.
Okay.
Series tied 2-2.
Sean Kemp.
Sean Kemp. And
That's the
then,
only Sonic I know.
yep. And then Mutombo was on Denver. So,
All about Matumbo.
yeah, yesterday I watched a Charlotte versus New Jersey Nets. Because I don't, had you ever heard of this basketball player? He played at Syracuse, Derek Coleman. He played from like 85 to 89. He was drafted in 89, 90. So he was one of the best. I think he was a small forward, but he was supposed to be one of the best players to come out. He was drafted number 1. And throughout his career, he played well enough just to ensure that he would get that next paycheck. He could have been explosive. Like sometimes you would see him, he's really explosive, but you could tell just him running. He wasn't giving effort. He wasn't going in for a lot of rebounds. He wasn't driving when he could. So I wanted to actually see him play, and he played on the Nets for a while. So that's why I watched the Nets, because I never had seen him play. I don't think I'd ever seen any New Jersey Nets game. Not
There
that I
was
can remember.
one guy that played for the Nets, but I don't remember who he was. There was like one recognizable name for the Nets, but I can't remember. You know what I'm excited about?
What?
A bunch of racetracks are opening up today
Really?
and tomorrow. Charlestown, which is this tiny little podunk racetrack that I used to go to all the time in West Virginia, is opening up. The big tracks in LA are opening up.
Is Charlestown small? Is it a small place?
Super small.
Really? Because they've got some kind of a comedy club or something there. And well-known comedians go there.
So it's a giant casino.
That must be what it is. The
Yep.
casino.
That's the draw. It's a small town, like it's a super small town that just has a racetrack. But then about 20 years ago, they got casinos. They got slot machines, and now they get big acts that come through.
Okay.
Because
Because
my dad goes up there all the
when
time.
I've looked at places like people that play, they're kind of close to where I am in the region. Well, not in the region, but not too far away. Charlestown comes up, and I was like, I never heard of it.
Yep, casino gigs.
Wow. Wow. Now let me ask you this. Now this goes a little bit about. I think we touched on last week. We touched on if you'd want to be a star athlete, but this kind of goes along in a way with Walter Mitty, in kind of a way, as he wasn't fully living his life, and then by the end of the movie he was. So on that note, would you want to live a long life, meaning 80 years plus, but it's dull or not really eventful, or had you rather live a shorter life, 45 years or 30 to 45 years, but have accomplished your goals, success, you've lived your life, you've done a lot of things that you wanted to do? What would you choose? Because on one hand, you get to
As
spend more.
someone, go ahead.
I was going to say, if you're older, you get to spend time with your loved ones. If you have, family, friends, if you have kids or grandkids, and it doesn't mean that you've not actually lived a life, but you haven't really lived a life. There's some people that like don't even leave their hometown their entire life. You know what I mean? I'm
Yeah.
not saying that's bad, but for me, I would feel sad for myself. You know, be like, you've got this great big world, and you've only went within, you know, 30 or 50, 100 miles.
And I kind of live like the short term life anyway, which I've always kind of done because most people are like, oh yeah, when I get old, and when I get old, when I get old. And I'm like, well, you don't know if you're gonna make it there. Like,
No,
like kind of what you're talking about earlier with the people who've taken a different path. I've had a lot of friends who didn't make it to 25, and then I had a lot of friends that didn't make it to 30, and now I know a lot of people have made it to 40.
yeah,
So I'm like, you don't really get, to, you're not assured that. So you just got to go out and keep like trying to crush it every single day. And that's how I live my life, which is very, can be difficult many times. It's like, man, I don't know if tomorrow's going to be here. So I got to make sure I make the most out of it today. Um, like, uh, uh, if I had to live my life one way, if I knew I was going to be 88, then
yeah,
I don't know if I would be as proactive as I am knowing that I don't know if I'm going to make it to 88.
right,
I mean, look at the world that we're in right now. We don't know if we're going to make it 14 days. It's not
yeah,
assured at all. So it's like, I think that mentality wise, to not answer your question, I'm going to say that mentality wise, short term, Walter Mitty style of like, you got to go out and live because you don't know if you're going to get tomorrow.
yeah. And I would, I thought about it as well. Like, like you said, you can't really tell how old you're going to be. You have no idea. But I wouldn't want to be older if I'm not able to be able to take care of myself. The functions. You could be 80 years old, but be, bedridden or be sickly or, some kind of defining moment where you can't really help. Same thing when you're younger. But like you said, I've had, there was a guy a few weeks ago, probably three weeks ago. He'd sent me some kind of, like a thing on Facebook, like to play a game or something. And I didn't really respond or anything. And then the next morning I'd see, somebody posted that he had died. And I'm like, wow.
Wow.
And it wasn't somebody that I was really close with, but it was somebody that I kind of talked with for about 2 years on a regular basis because we were in. He transferred to the school I was in, so we were in 10th and 11th grade together. So we spoke, but we never really hung out outside of school or called each other or anything like that. But we were always friendly. He watched a few of the sketches. He commented on those, and he was I don't think he was 40 yet, and he had some kind of disease, like a muscle disease, and passed away.
Yeah.
So you never
It
really
happens
know.
so fast. Seriously.